The man who never spoke, yet moved like he carried storms in his chest?
He was silence made flesh. A man broken in the dark who rebuilt himself with fire. They tried to bury him, but he became the ground they fear to walk on.
I was built in silence. I didn't come from noise. I wasn't forged in applause. There were no crowds cheering, no lights shining, no one patting my back telling me I'd make it. I was built in silence, in shadows, in cold rooms with no warmth and no windows. While they slept peacefully, I was wide awake, with demons crawling through my head, whispering doubts, injecting fear. But I didn't run. I didn't scream. I sat with them. I stared them down. I wasn't given this. I earned it. Every ounce of strength in me came from suffering I never spoke about. Pain I never named. I didn't cry out for help. I didn't beg for understanding. I learned how to bleed quietly, how to break in private, how to stitch myself back together using nothing but grit and God. They think strength looks like loud victories, like speeches and trophies. But real strength is waking up after nights that should have killed you. It's walking forward when every part of you is dragging behind. It's choosing to keep breathing when you'd rather stop. That's what I am. That's what I've become. I was overlooked, underestimated, counted out more times than I can remember. They saw silence and mistook it for weakness. They saw stillness and thought I was stuck.
If I look knackered, it's because I am. I've just finished a 3-day
Stuck. I was storing energy. I was calculating. I was becoming. While they laughed, while they talked, while they ran their mouths, I was building something they'd never understand. Something stronger than noise. Something purer than praise. I was building discipline. I was building fire. Every time I was ignored, it added fuel. Every time they turned their back on me, the blade inside got sharper. Every betrayal was another layer of armor. I became so used to pain, I stopped fearing it. I welcomed it. I made it my teacher, my mentor, my motivator. Pain didn't break me. It shaped me. They wanted me to quit. Hell, I wanted me to quit. There were nights when my own mind begged me to stop, but something deeper held on. Something ancient. Something primal. I don't know what to call it. Only that it refused to die. That's what they don't see. That's what they'll never understand. I didn't win because I was the strongest. I won because I refused to disappear. They thought silence meant absence. But silence is where I studied the world. Where I learned to see through the masks. Where I learned who was real and who was fake. Silence showed me what mattered. And in that silence, I found my voice. Not the one they could hear, but the one that kept me alive. I was built in silence. When no one was clapping. When no one believed. When even I had doubts so loud they shook the walls. But I stayed I stayed in the gym when my legs were shaking. I stayed with a dream when it looked like dust. I stayed loyal to a vision no one else could see. I stayed with God even when I felt abandoned. Especially then, I learned to speak without words. I learned to move in the dark. I learned that survival wasn't enough. I wanted domination. I wanted to rise so high they'd choke on their own disbelief. And I did, and I will. Again and again. I don't want sympathy. I don't need anyone to understand. This isn't about justice. This is about memory. About never letting the world forget who they laughed at, who they dismissed, who they thought would never rise. And now, I rise. But not like a hero. Not with fanfare. I rise like smoke after fire. Quiet, thick, choking. I rise like ash, like ruin, like the consequence of everything they thought had no consequence. I have no mercy left. They burned it out of me. I have no tears. I've cried them all. What I have now is purpose. They will see the monster they mocked become something else entirely. Something that can't be mocked. Something they can't control. They built this version of me. Every smirk they threw, a brick. Every joke at my expense, a nail. Now I'm a fortress. Cold, steel-hearted, unbreakable. I will make them pay. Not with screams, not with chaos. That's too easy, too loud. I'll make them pay with silence. With the weight of everything I've become pressing down on their fragile illusions. Because now, I am their mirror. And when they look at me, they'll see what they created. They laughed when I failed. So I will succeed in ways they never imagined. I will climb past every ceiling they set for me. I'll tear down every wall they hid behind. I'll turn every no into a door, and every rejection into a throne. I am not chasing revenge. I am revenge. My presence will be a reminder. My success will sting like salt on their wounds. They'll remember every word they said, because I will embody the contradiction of it all. Everything they said I couldn't be, I'll become, and more. And I won't hide. I won't shrink to make them comfortable. Let them feel the discomfort. Let them taste the bitterness of being wrong. I am the storm they laughed at before the sky broke open. I am the winter they mocked before the first frost turned everything to ice. I am the one they thought couldn't survive, until I stopped surviving and started dominating. This isn't personal anymore. This is legacy. They made a mistake. They thought I'd stay buried. They forgot bones don't rot when the soul refuses to die. I've been reborn in silence, in rage, in clarity.
In 4K.
Hey, if you want to get across London, you do it by tube, and they give you